Hello, Commander. The enemy forces at the like button remains to be resilient against our bombardment. I think that our bombardment is not intense enough. The intensity of our strikes is insufficient. Uh, Based on our records, we have not been destroying it with more than 3,000 shells, and I think that's why the fortification of the enemy remains. So we need to hit it above 3,000 shells of intensity of our light missiles and bombs and shelling. And I think, Commander, you need to fire for effect. Hello, everyone. This is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 83, actually, and 84. So it's actually for 2 days, and for which is 17 and 18 May 2022. So a lot of things has happened. So let's start off with our usual the missile strikes. So there's so many missile strikes, I'm not sure where to start off there. So let's start off with this one. So the Russia has strikes the railway station at Zaporizhzhia. So they targeted on this strike, the target was the Ukrainian reserve troops, as well as shipments of foreign equipment and weapons from the west. So it's around here probably. So important to note that they actually targeted soldiers as well from the reserves. So these are new soldiers, probably civilians, just trained for the past 1-2 months on basic military training, and that is quite sad to experience their first experience of combat in that way. Russia also strikes the training center at Desna. So this training center, according to so it's actually here. This is another training. This is a training center. I think they had hit two training centers. One is in Sumy, one is in Chernihiv. This is the one at Chernihiv at Desna. So they destroyed similarly reserves. So they are now, so we can actually kind of see some kind of pattern that the Russians is now targeting the reserve troops. They are trying to either destroy them or demoralize these troops into not wanting to fight at the front. The other one is actually at Otraika or Otraika. So Otraika. So this one is a bit smaller. This one is here. So in these grounds here, this is apparently some kind of military camp, and the location actually I did not manage to find until I saw one of the Russian sources showing exactly this location. So so this is not looking good, because remember how powerful such a strike can deal on fresh soldiers. Previously in Lviv, the foreign legions was more or less smashed and totally made irrelevant because of the missile strike earlier in the war. And with these kind of strikes, I think the soldiers, the new soldiers that are mobilized in these locations would be very devastated. I think they will go to the front with a very demoralized state. There is also a strike at the traction power substation at Mariupol railway station in the Kharkiv region. However, according to the Russian sources, the attack is not effective. Is they missed the target, so the substation seems to survive. So that's one. I'm not going to zoom in because we got so much things to do to talk about. The Russia also strikes the Dnipro airfield. So in this strike, 2 Sukhoi 24 aircraft was destroyed, probably on the ground. I think the Sukhoi 24 might be tracked by radar as they return back to base, and after they landed, the missile came. I suspect that might be the story. And we have also a missile strike. So I have never seen such hatred, such vicious hate for a single breach. And Russia actually strikes this breach of Zatoka for the 5th time. So, and this time round, the Ukrainian South Military Command declared that the breach can no longer be utilized and repair work cannot be conducted in the foreseeable future. So the Russians really hate this breach, this railway cum road breach, and they actually strike it 5 times. But I to be honest, don't trust these words from this the South Military Command. They are sure gonna repair it successfully, and we're gonna see a 6th strike. Just wait for it. Then we have some cross-border shelling. So there are shelling reported at Alexivka and Technikino, Soloki, as well as Benzimeno. These are all inside Russia, and they all reported shelling from the Ukrainian military. So by this point, if anyone's still telling me that this is a false flag from Russia, please smack yourself. And I did not indicate here, but the Ukrainian operational information, if I'm not wrong, indicates that there are accumulation of Russian troops in Bryansk and Kursk, and they assess that the accumulation of troops in Bryansk region and Kursk region is to actually pin back Ukrainian forces from going towards the east, and they actually see this as a real threat. So in response to this threat, they might have sent some troops to the border area. So according to the Russian sources, there are territorial defense units being transferred to the settlement of Perovka, Hrabrovke, Slavhorod, as well as Popivka. So it's all around here. So I believe they got spotted by informants, pro-Russian informants, which is why we have such specific information. So they is reportedly these soldiers are reportedly will be used for the fortification of the area close to they will be fortifying themselves close to residential buildings. So this is of course just read this with some sort, and they also review where they get their fuel and ammunition, which I did not indicate here. So because it's not really important to me, this information, but at least we are seeing some reaction by the Ukrainian side on this possible threat of an incursion again from the Russian towards Kiev. I believe I have already mentioned this 2-3 times, that the Russians could try again and blitz all the way towards Kiev once and again. And this time, as I mentioned, I think previously, that this time round it will be very different, because most of the Ukrainian forces has been drive to the east, and whoever is remaining are not going to be as effective as a fighting force as compared to the first month of war. So they are accordingly, the forces that's at Bryansk and Kursk, they are from the, I think, Eastern Military Command of the Russians. I'm not sure who are they. I'm not very familiar with the Russian commands. And moving on to another strike. Okay, let's not go to there since it's part of the front. So let's go to Odessa Front first, so that we can always end on the happy note. I have added this this Russian controlled Snake Island, this border or front line area. Some people don't like me saying this is border, but And it was actually mentioned by one of the YouTube commenters, or maybe it's a Discord member. So they say that why did I not have this border region for the Snake Island? And that is actually a good point because it's controlled by the Russians. So there should be some kind of a border or front line indicated as controlled. So I added that in. So if you get emotional damage from this, deal with it. So that's all for the Odessa Front. There's no 8 link yet of this Snake Island. There is no changes and updates for the Mykolaiv Front and Kryvyi Rih Front. Everybody just gave up fighting around here, it seems. Maybe I'm sure there's some kind of fighting, but it's just small. So at Zaporizhzhia Front, the Ukrainians attacked a Russian train by planting a bomb at the railway track. So when the train is going past, they actually IED'd the train. However, there is no fatalities. However, there are some people were injured. However, the wagons and cargoes were undamaged. So I'm not going to read the rest. It's just analysis. So we have Ukrainian elements within Russian held territories doing some sabotage work. Not sure how much they can do. If you did not derail the entire train, then I see that as a failure. And I have cleared out all the fighting fronts because they are really outdated already, because the previous icons were all entered mostly in the late April, and we are already now in mid-May, which is why I have deleted them all. So the latest information we have is that there is fighting near Mykolaiv. So it was actually a offensive by the Ukrainians near Mykolaiv, and this offensive was apparently repelled. I don't care about these numbers. I don't really trust it. And there is also fighting reported by a source, Russian military history source, by Sergeant Stavka. So they mentioned that there is fighting at Novoslat-Topil. Slat-Topil. So it is actually a Ukrainian assault. However, it also did not seem to work out. And this is interesting. So I'm gonna maybe do this, which is probably more accurate. So this is Mykolaiv. There's no update for the Velika Novosilka area. So that is all for Zaporizhzhia Front. Going to Mariupol. At Mariupol, there is some updates. If you have saw the quick update on the Mariupol, there's more update now. So the MOD statement on Mariupol finally, because in the previous summary, the Russian Ministry of Defense have not made their own statement. We only saw the Ukrainian side one. So the Russian MOD on the 17th of May reported that 265 militants, including 51 seriously wounded, have surrendered. So this makes it sounds like the 265 includes the 51. So it's not really 300. And those that need medical help are sent to Novoazovsk, which is, if you're not sure where it is, it's actually here. They were sent to the hospital here, as far as they possibly can send them from Kiev. So it's really, really far away from the front line. And then the next day, the Russian Ministry of Defense released a new statement. So they say that over the past days, that means since the last report, 694 soldiers have surrendered, and including 29 that is wounded. So that makes a grand total of 959 soldiers surrendered since May 16, which is the past 2 days. So of this 959, 80 are wounded, of which 51 actually requires inpatient treatment, and they are in the hospital at Novoazov. Then I have this preliminary information. This is not from the Ministry of Defense of Russia, but it's actually from a Russian source. I forgot to drop the source. Oh my god. So This actually, I did share this in the DPA Telegram. So if you join the DPA Telegram, you probably can find this. So there is a 785 new successful evacuations. So that brings the total surrenders to the 1,750. So this is a huge number of surrenders, 1,750, which means that we might be looking at over 2,500 soldiers within the plant. I believe there is still more they are yet to surrender. And given that they have over 2,000 over soldiers and they are not able to break out at all, this just shows how ineffective this force has become after they got trapped in Azovstal. So you would have thought that 2,500 soldiers will be able to break out of it, but they failed. They are unable to. So according to this analyst, they also estimated to have 2,500 militants, or this is what they use, the soldiers, and this is also my estimate. So this number turned out to be really huge. So I'm not going to read the rest of the analysis. So this is the Mariupol. And interestingly, we also saw a video that the POW buses from Mariupol have arrived at Olenivka. However, at the same time, we also have another report that there is prison trucks escorted by police, which is in a convoy. So as they describe, a column of wagons which pass through the city of Taganrog, which is within Russia. So, and it was assessed that these are actually probably the extremist groups, the neo-Nazis or the neo-Nazis. The neo-Nazis might have been separated away from the normal soldiers, and they are actually transported into Russia as part of the denazification or denotification of Ukraine. So the normal soldiers are, after vetting, is sent for prisoner exchange. However, the neo-Nazis are not allowed to. And in the later information, the trials has begun. So this corroborates this sighting of the police truck convoy, the prison truck convoy, and also corroborated that there might be actually a separation in terms of the prisoners of war, or prisoner of not a war, or prisoner of special military operation, whatever you want it to be. So this actually have a video of this happening, where one of the guy is now being tried. Dennis Noriga, which is the AIDA militant, or they call it, at least what this is the term they use. So they say that so according to this source by Intel Slava, this is a Telegram group. They write in English, but they are pro-Russian. So they say that the war criminals or Ukrainian Nazis trial starts today, and the first guy to be tried is actually this guy, this Dennis guy. So he was accused, or he is accused of blowing up a bridge in Luhansk in 2019. So take a note of the date, which means that they had been keeping track of all these neo-Nazis and all the things that they have done, and now this denotification operation is now starting to perhaps bear fruit and bringing justice to be served. And this trial will be held at the Leninsky District Court of Rostov-on-Don, which is here, this city here. So that's Mariupol. On the Donetsk front, there is no update on the Voleda region. Fighting continues also at Mykolaiv-Kryvyi and Marinka. There's no changes in the front line. And moving on to north of Donetsk, fighting is reported at Kamyanka. So this actually corroborates the Donetsk People's Republic claims that they are actually encircling Avdiivka. And there is reports that the Russian forces have captured Novoselivka Druha, so as well as Novoselivka. So the two Novoselivka has been captured. And during the quick update, I mentioned that the information about Rozivka is wrong. However, in the latest information I can find, fighting is reported at Alexandropil. So the horn of the male organ has appeared again, and the number 3 is looking horny. So there is no updates regarding New York area. There is still fighting based on the last summary. There is some rumors that New York is captured, but I do not think that is true. At least I did not see anything firm, which I did not indicate on the map, because I didn't really see. It's just some rumors. It's not really some reports. So moving on to the Luhansk Front. On the Luhansk Front, this is something from the quick update as well that you probably might have seen. The Rozivka is actually this little town, little village here. So this is the village. This is Rozivka. And then they also captured this other little village here of Druzhba. And after the overrunning Druzhba, they are now fighting for Trypilia. There is no breakthrough at Vitorivka. However, there is rumors that Komoshubakha has been captured. However, so this is actually by a Ukrainian, pro-Ukrainian source. War Monitor 3 is actually pro-Ukrainian. I forgot to enter the title. Let's enter it now. Komoshubakha reportedly captured by Russian forces. So, however, there is not enough information to corroborate this, and not enough people is talking about this. And he also analyzed that. He also mentioned that there is conflicting reports about Komoshubakha, and he said that it's most likely under Russian control. So, and they also kind of using a later information that the Russians has captured Vrubivka, using this to kind of corroborate this information, which is not a good idea, because this information itself is also rather dubious that the Russians have captured Vrubivka. So I have to put a question mark for this, as well as a question mark for this, because a capturing of Vrubivka will be a massive development for this front, as this would represent the closing of this pincer movement, and the entire force within a Kharkiv region will be entirely encircled. So I'm not going to take this lightly. I'm just going to leave this as question mark for now, as well as Komoshubakha. I think this is the capture of such a major position would warrant more reporting from more people, so especially the pro-Russian sources. So let's wait for this information. On the east side of Zolote and Kharkiv, Orekhov has been captured by the Russian forces, so is Toshkivka. So these two positions have been fought over for at least 2 weeks, and finally the Russians have captured them. And very quickly, there is information from Darius Yemilian on Twitter that the Russian forces have captured Mirna Dolina, so Manaya Dolina. So that is very fast, because they just captured this and they immediately took this position, which means that the Ukrainian forces did not stay here. And the information that I saw was that the Ukrainian forces at Toshkivka has retreated to Kharkiv. So they did not retreat this way. They retreat into a more defendable location in Kharkiv, which means that this position might be entirely undefended, which is why the Russians have captured it rather quickly. We will definitely try to see if we have corroborating information about this capture, but tentatively seems like it's rather believable. Moving further north to the northern theater of Luhansk, there is fighting continuing for Severodonetsk. There is actually information confirming that the airport is actually still under Ukrainian control. However, the Russians is now fighting at Syrotiny, or Sirotine Sky or Shirotine, whatever. So let me make this less confusing. Okay, so this is better. And I haven't seen the corroboration that the Russians have captured Shishe Dry Shishevi, though, so I have no idea what is this update yet. So this is for the Severodonetsk region. And for the part along the Seversky Donetsk River, as you can see, I have moved the border or the front line backwards to behind the river, because I believe that the entire offense by the Russians to cross the river to attack from the rear has entirely failed. So the Russians didn't seem to be trying again, as there's no more reports of fighting within all these towns and villages, ranging from Serebryanka to Bilohorivka to Shipilivka to Privilia as well as Novodrushets. So I did not see all this any information coming from this area other than they are getting bombarded by artillery and airstrikes. So there is no ground troops. So I have pushed back the entire front line, and the entire offense here has failed for the Russians. That I actually just saw this entrenchment. You see, this is the old entrenchment. It seems like, you know, there used to be a trench and then it got filled up. But I believe that this is a very plausible area for entrenchment, because this is actually on a hill. So it overlooks this entire region. So I believe there should be a Ukrainian entrenchment. So I have added it back in, since the Ukrainians are likely to reuse this position for overviewing of this entire area. And this position will help them have a good view of this entire region to prevent any further crossings. And if there is, then the Ukrainian artillery will be ready for the Russian forces. Moving on to the Izyum Front. The Ozene is finally captured by the Russian forces. And very quickly, there is rumors. These are rumors. I cannot confirm this information because it's only mentioned very vaguely by one or two Twitter accounts. So there is this report that the Russian forces is already in Zakine. So there is this bridge here from Ozene to Zakine. However, this bridge was never reported to have been destroyed. So it is believable that the Russians clearly roll over the bridge and overrun Zakine. Probably there's no defenses around this region, and there is already rumors that the Russian forces have reached Platonivka. So this represents a much better route than crossing taking the high risk act of crossing this river through pontoon crossing. However, this information I cannot just put the flag on it yet, because this is too preliminary. I would love to see more information about this from pro-Russian sources, because these are all from the Twitter. Twitter is usually pro-Ukrainian, usually, not always. But this information is too sparse. Let's wait for more information, because this is also another one similar to this, a very, very major development, because the target for this entire push here is Siversk. The capturing of Siversk would collapse the entire resupply route on the northern side of this front here. So Siversk will be a major target for the Russian forces, and should they be able to repair the bridge at Dronivka, the Russians will be able to use railway to bring in reinforcement to Siversk, and that will mean a flood of Russian forces in the middle of this Eastern Army. So this is not looking good for the Ukrainian forces for sure. In fact, it looks really, really bad. So there is a dispute about the capturing of Yarova by the Russians. and is by War Monitor 3, which is a pro-Ukrainian source. He said that the claims that the Russians have taken Yarova is false, and I trust him. So I have pushed back the front line, and I have put this notification. So Yarova, tentatively, I have invalidated that capture. I want to see more evidence of the capture of Yarova from the Russian side. Let's see, what else do we have? The fighting is still very heavy at Dovhenke, very heavy. So the village of Dovhenke, or town of Dovhenke, is preliminarily captured by the Russians, but they are immediately counterattacked by the Ukrainians. As you can see, this is the town. There is 2 massive pieces of forest, and this is where the Ukrainians can easily attack and bombard or fire across into the town, making the town not really secure. So that's why I did not declare the capture until the Russian forces are able to secure safely the town. I will not be giving the flag as of yet, because this forested area is really a big threat to this town. So this position is not going to be secured. There is no further updates regarding this entire Izyum Front, south of Izyum. Moving on to the Happy Front. And Happy Front is happy. Not so happy here. The Ukrainian MiG-29 is shot down over Kayamna Yaruha. So as I mentioned in the quick update for this Happy Front, or the Kharkiv Front, if you are new to this channel, this MiG-29 is probably doing some cover mission to protect the front line, the fronts, or maybe even here from Russian airstrikes. And however, it got shot down. If I'm not wrong, they got shot down by air defenses. Most of the Ukrainian aircraft is actually shot down by surface-to-air missiles. They are usually not shot down by a fellow aircraft. So air-to-air combat might be very overrated, it seems, because air defense seems to reign supreme over the fighting of airspaces. There is a Russian counter-offensive between Demetivka and Slatine. So this is another Slatine. So the story I read was that the Ukrainians actually launched an offensive towards Demetivka. So this is actually a war story. Don't take it too seriously. So according to this pro-Russian source, there is a defense position. There's only like 11 soldiers, and the Ukrainians are launching an attack with 300 over soldiers with supported by armored vehicles, and they got held up by this fortified position. So the Ukrainians tried to bombard it with artillery, as well as trying to flank it. However, the fortified position continues to hold until reinforcement came. And as the Russian reinforcement comes, they launch a major counteroffensive, and this is probably the result. And there is no change in terms of the border or the front line here, as this is still a battle between the two towns or village. But just want to indicate that there is fighting reported here. I have confirmed the crossing, because a pro-Russian source have confirmed that the crossing was done by Ryba, which is the fisherman, if you want to call it, in the Telegram channel. So the Ukrainian forces have captured Zarychny as well as Kotymilia. And I also then but actually saw this tweet by Now in Ukraine, which is a super pro-Ukrainian Twitter account. They reported that the Velika Pasarivka community experienced shelling from the Russians. With this report, we can kind of gauge that Velika Pasarivka has been captured by the Ukrainian forces. which is why I have awarded this town to the Ukrainians with the flag, and this corroborated the information that we got on the 17th, that the Ukrainian forces have crossed across the river at the northeast of Vyzne, which is here. So they managed to cross. This is actually a much more narrower part. They managed to cross and take over Verkhinya Basarivka. And with this information, how would the Ukrainians even know that this community got shelled? Apparently they are there, I guess, which is why they know. But to be shelled by mortar shells also indicates that the Russian forces is nearby. So because mortar don't really have a very far range, probably around 8 kilometers at max, I guess. Those that know better about this kind of military stuff, you can correct me in the comments. So even at an 8-kilometer range, we will probably see that the Russians are probably in the region, might be at Ukrainske or Snelnivkov, and that they are definitely at Voshansk. This is a important point. This is an important junction, a mini city of sort. So the Russians are definitely from here. So the shelling might be from this city, I think, and the Russian, or their analysts, I'm not sure they are pro-Russian or pro-Ukrainian, I can't remember. The assessment is pro-Russian. They assess that the Ukrainians would want to capture this city over here. There is also indication that the Russians might want to push towards Hontarivka, but preliminary intel from these pro-Russian sources tells us that the Ukrainians have not been able to transport major amount of forces over to the eastern bank of Seversky-Donetsk River, because this river is rather wide. You can see it is not really possible to do pontoon crossing or tampon crossing across all the way. So the initial crossing might be done by boats, or by pontoon boats, because the pontoon, the individual pieces of pontoon, it is possible to use it as a kind of a boat or a barge to cross over for your armored vehicles and stuff like this. So, but with the kind of crossing, using it as a barge or a boat, the number of forces you can deliver over the river will be smaller in number and a lot more slower than having a bridge. So for a major offensive coming out from this crossing, we probably will need to wait for a few days, I believe, maybe 2-3 days, unless the villages around this region are undefended. Then perhaps they will actually push out and fan out, so that they can actually have more grounds to actually protect the bridgehead. And did I miss anything? I think that's about it. So thank you for watching the summary of day 83 and day 84, which is for 17 and 18 of May. And for those that has not subscribed, because based on the view counts, I know that many of you guys might not have subscribed, so do subscribe. And for those that haven't pressed the like button, I'm hoping that we can actually go beyond 3,000 likes, because we haven't got a 3,000 likes since the 13th of May. So, which is why, oh sorry, it's actually 14th of May. I am fake news. So since 14th of May, so it has been like 5 days. So the YouTube shadow banning battalion have returned and reinforced the fortification at the like button. So we have to do something about it before they entrench themselves, and I hope to see the likes go beyond 3,000 likes. Let's do it, brothers, and I'll see you and sisters in the next update.